How's it going there, guys? You're listening to CR3 Christian Radio for the Trinity. I'm your host, Kevin Lopez, and today we're going to be doing a book review in tactics, all right? First off, I'm going to say it was an interesting read. I learned a lot. I definitely feel like there's some good strategies to take away. Now, am I in complete agreement with the book? No. Right off the bat, I'll tell you that. I am a little biased with how I approach evangelism. You have presuppositionalism and evidentialism, kind of like the classic apologetics. But anyways, we're going to listen to a little bit of Frank Turek and from his podcast here, I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist. And he talks here with the writer of the book, Greg here. And let's see what are some things I liked, some things I didn't like with this book.
Crossexamined.org. That's cross-examined with a D on the end of it.org. By the way, if you haven't seen our YouTube channel, you need to go up there. We have about 600 short videos, most of them from the college campus, Q&A. I get questions on the college campus. We film it all. We put it up on YouTube. These are short videos that you can share with anyone. And as you watch some of these Q&As, you'll see what I'm doing is exactly what Greg does in the book Tactics. I'm just asking questions back. When they say something, I ask, what do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that, right? This is one of the questions that we can always use in our approach to evangelism. So Greg, he's here going to talk about the Columbo effect. If you read, the book Tactics, he's going to give a lot of analogies, illustrations. So I would say that's a strong point. It never is like a boring read. However, I do think he jumps a lot to different topics. 1 second he's talking about abortion, next second he's talking about same-sex marriage, and then he jumps to another topic. Then he gets back to that topic eventually. He has a lot that he's trying to communicate in a short book, and he mainly uses, like I said, like scenarios, things he's experienced in his own evangelism. Which is good in the sense where we can relate with him. Like, for example, he brings up a point about Jehovah's Witness coming to, knock on his door. I mean, we can relate to that, right? Throughout the book, like I said, he's just trying to show you what are some good ways to witness, to evangelize. But we're going to listen to him a little bit here, and I'll give you some critiques of why I don't agree completely with his approach.
Can you clarify that? What evidence do you have for that position? And this is part of what Greg talks about in the book Tactics. So, Greg, let's go back to the Columbo tactic now.
Sure.
It seems to me there are three levels of this tactic, as I remember, but explain it a little bit more.
Yeah, there's three parts of the game plan, and when I say game plan, here's how I want people to understand this. If you have a football team, you're going to play the Super Bowl, you do your strategizing, you do your practice, you learn your plays and everything, but you are not thinking about the end of the game when you get out on the field. If you do, you're distracted.
All right, so like I said, a lot of analogies. Here he is with sports, and I'm a big sports guy, and I can understand him. That's what I'm saying with this book. You're going to be able to understand it, and he's going to give you a lot of examples. So here's a football analogy. You want to not focus at the end goal. You want to focus at the beginning, the premise, which I can agree with so far, but you'll see where it gets a little shaky.
You are thinking about executing that play at that moment. And if you execute your plays well, you're going to end well is the idea. But you got to be focused. So what I tell people is, in this three-step game plan, you want to start thinking, you want to start with the first step, but you don't want to be thinking about what's down the line. You don't want to be thinking about winning that person to Christ. Actually, you don't even want to be thinking yet about getting to the gospel, because
throw the yellow flag. Oh man, this is what I'm talking about. Now, do I understand what he's trying to get to? Yes, I get it. We want to gather information, his first step. His second step is reversing the burden of proof, which now we're not going to be on the defensive side. Now we're going to have them question their own beliefs and help them see their contradictions and their fallacies and the flaws in their logic, right? And then, we can use questions to make a point. So I still throwing the yellow flag because I think he loses the urgency to preach the gospel. He loses that I do want to get to the end goal and, preach the gospel to this person. I get it. We don't have to always get to the cross. There are times where you have like 2 minutes, maybe a 30-second discussion with someone and you got to leave, or they got to leave, and you can't really get there. But it just seems like it's almost like he doesn't want to get there as much. Now, I will say, after reading 17 chapters, I was like, is this guy ever going to get to the gospel? And he does. He does in chapter 18 and 19. He does actually use verses there, and he gets to the gospel. So, like I said, I'm not in complete disagreement. I'm biased. I don't like this approach that much. It definitely feels like, yes, it's good that you can get to know the person and, build some rapport with that person, but at the same time, the Bible tells us to go and preach the gospel. That's our mission, right? When we go and evangelize. So that's why I'm saying I'm a little hesitant with this approach.
You have no idea at this point what you're facing. The first step of the game plan is simply this. You are gathering information. You are gathering information. So you're going to use questions to get more information about a person's view. Now, you do this in a superb fashion, Frank, on these videos you did.
All right. So, yeah, Frank Turek does do a good job with his way he asks questions to other people and gets them thinking. Now, if you keep going with the book, that's enough of the podcast. If you want, you could check it out. New Tactics, right? I do like that he shows some flaws in people's arguments. Now, this is where I think the book was more helpful. Like I said, he goes all over the place here. It's kind of hard to follow sometimes, where it's like, okay, first he's talking about this issue, and then he's talking about that issue, and it's like, okay, what's your point? It almost felt like at first he gave us some strategies, and then he just stops giving us strategies and then just shows us what we're going to encounter and why these people are not really making good arguments and what their flaws in. So he gets into whole the atheism with like moral relativism. Can an atheist actually use the problem of evil to go against God's existence? Because if you have evil, then you're assuming there's a standard, and if there's a standard, what is that standard? Points back to God. So anyways, there's a lot here that I feel like, did it really help me in my witness and my evangelism? Not really. I kind of knew some of these things going on before reading it, which is fine, but it's more to kind of prepare you for the flaws in other people's arguments, right? And that I kind of appreciated. That I liked about the book, showing, where people are trying to make an argument, but they're really just attacking you, or they're trying to sound smart, or maybe trying to like steamroll you. They're just trying to embarrass you and just talk and don't even give you a chance. And there was some wisdom here where it's like sometimes you can just say no and just be like, all right, I'm done with this conversation. And there's a time to be blunt. There's a time to ask some questions that will stop the person from just jumping all over the place and help them to focus on one of their points that they're trying to throw at you. So you're going to see questions like, hasn't more people died because of religion? And then other discussions here just with historical information, or things like where, oh, well, miracles can't exist. So, science is real, science is true, and miracles can't exist. So I'm not even going to think about the resurrection and this and that. So like I said, it's a lot of different things that you're going to encounter in this book. But like I said, at the end, it does get to the gospel. So I think I am going to be a little fair here by giving it a B-. Now, go buy the book. I think it is a good read to kind of just start to understand where other people are coming from, the flaws in their logic. For example, someone that's talking about pro-life, right? Oh, okay, you think it's wrong to murder a child. Yeah, well, I think it's wrong, but, I'm not going to put my views on other people. Okay, but what about when the government and people are saying that it's okay to murder babies? Are you okay with that? And then they're going to start thinking like, wait a minute. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying because I believe it's, wrong to kill someone, and because the government is saying it, then I should either be for it or against it. I shouldn't just say, oh, for me, I'm against it, but other people have the right to choose. So it really makes you start thinking like, okay, if I'm going to hold to my view, I need to be consistent. And it shows how only the Christian can be consistent in their worldview. All right. And at the end, this was his best part here. He gives 8 quick tips. First, be ready. Keep it simple. Avoid religious language and spiritual pretense. Then he talks about the truth of Christianity, not merely its personal benefits, should be our focus when we discuss. Give reasons. Stay calm. If they want to go, let them leave. Don't let them leave empty-handed. All right. So he gives some good tips of how to discuss with unbelievers. And like I said, I thought it was a helpful book. Do I completely agree with his approach? No. But go check it out. Go read it. Maybe leave some comments in the comment section below. But this was CR3 Christian Radio for your Trinity. I'm your host, Kem Lopez. And hopefully we get to another book review soon. Have a great day.